Carly Fiorina is at Cruz headquarters in Houston. Carly, very good to see you. Well, I guess now, and you had gotten on board with the Ted Cruz campaign, arguing that he was the better bet of the remaining candidates. He's obviously in a lot stronger position tonight. What do you think he and Marco Rubio might do together? There's obviously a lot of bad blood remaining between Marco Rubio and Donald Trump. A more natural fit might be with Ted Cruz. What do you think?
Well, I'm not going to speculate. Let me just begin by saying that Marco Rubio ran a wonderful campaign. He gave a wonderful speech tonight. He reminded us of why his candidacy was so appealing to so many people. And he reminds us as well about what our party is all about and what our nation is all about. I think he clearly indicated that Donald Trump and the fear and the frustration and the anger that Donald Trump stokes is not the future of the conservative movement or the Republican Party. And I share that sentiment. The week that Donald Trump announced his candidacy, I said publicly he does not represent me and he does not represent my party. And now Ted Cruz is the only candidate who has a reasonable path to defeat Donald Trump fair and square at the ballot box, which is where we must defeat him. And so honestly, almost no matter how Ohio comes out, I would call on John Kasich to be equally statesmanlike, to think about the future of his party and the future of his country.
Even if he wins?
And I know that Ted Cruz will. He has no path. He has no path even if he wins Ohio. The only candidate with a path to beat Donald Trump fair and square at the ballot box, which is where Donald Trump must be beaten. There can't be some backroom deal. There can't be some brokered convention. The only candidate who has a path to beat Donald Trump is Ted Cruz. And I know that Ted will say tonight that he welcomes supporters from Marco Rubio and John Kasich's campaign with open arms. But again, I'll end where I started. I want to congratulate Marco Rubio and all his supporters on a wonderful campaign and a wonderful speech this evening.
Carly, in your case, I mean, I know there was no discussion of deals or cabinet positions. I know that would be, you know, a little unsightly, if not illegal. But I wonder what made you go to Ted Cruz, and could you envision yourself, if he did get the nomination, playing a bigger role, not only in the campaign, but if he ever became president?
Well, you know, I have to tell you the honest truth. I voted for Ted Cruz in the privacy of a ballot box in the Virginia primary before I ever had a meeting with him about endorsing him. And I voted for him because of why I ran for president. I ran for president because I thought it was important to have a real conservative in the White House. I ran for president because I thought it was important to have someone who actually would challenge the system and the status quo. And Ted Cruz is a constitutional conservative, as am I, and has demonstrated his willingness and courage to challenge the system. Let's see what the future brings. But for now, I'm going to work very hard to make sure that Ted Cruz is the nominee of our party, because we must beat Donald Trump.
Were you surprised, I know you've got to go, but that there was more ill will expressed toward Ted Cruz than there was Donald Trump, by the likes of Bob Dole and some of these, I guess for lack of a better term, establishment figures? They dislike Ted Cruz more. What did you make of that, and where's the party now?
It actually doesn't surprise me at all. You know, I've challenged the status quo all my life. It's how you go from secretary to CEO. And I know that when you challenge a system, you do more than ruffle feathers. You do more than break glass. You make enemies. So I actually am encouraged by the fact that Ted Cruz has made enemies, because it means he actually has challenged the system. And yes, there are Republican figures who think that Donald Trump somehow is someone they can deal with. The only thing is, Donald Trump is the system. He has benefited from the system his entire life. In fact,
but could you support him if he were the nominee?
The opposite side of it. Donald Trump does not represent me, and he does not represent my party.
But if he were the nominee, Carly, if he were the nominee, could you?
I'm not going to answer that question, because I'm going to work as hard as I can to make sure he is not our nominee, because I think he and Hillary Clinton are two sides of the same coin. She has made her millions selling access and influence from the inside, and he has made his billions buying
Hillary
people
Clinton,
like
Donald Trump. If that's
off.
what you were left with, you're saying, Carly Fiorina, you're not quite sure on that one?
Neil, what I'm saying pundits all through this election have wanted to get to the end, and most of the time they've gotten it wrong. What I'm saying is Donald Trump doesn't represent me. He doesn't represent my party, and I'm going to spend a lot of hard work and energy to make sure he is not our nominee.
Okay. You always speak your mind, Carly. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.